Hello everyone and welcome to the ultimate DIY show. Why is this the ultimate DIY show? Because we got a W in it, and that is we do it with Yahweh, our special host, which you cannot see, but I promise you he is there. So basically for today we're going to be starting with class 3, and this is actually we've done with the sketch, and now we're going to actually start with our paint. As you can see on the portrait, I don't want to spoil it yet, but unfortunately I want to give you guys just a sneak preview. I'm not going to show it in detail because you have to do the class in order to learn the skill of painting. So basically I've done the background and I've done the neck, so basically we are done with that, and we're going to be starting with this class right away. But before we start, I would just like to say as well that our page is currently growing. Last we were on 49 views when we started with this class. Currently we are on 107 views, and we were on 3 subscribers, and currently after we started with this class we are now on 6 subscribers, and that is double the growth that we had in our previous episodes that we were doing the woodwork and the kids work and all that stuff. So please guys, subscribe to this channel. By subscribing to this channel, it means that you are actually supporting this channel, and this is a way of us to help each other in a way that we can learn and teach people that are interested in art and that is interested in doing paintings and stuff like that. It helps me to actually put this class on for free, and it does grow our channel. So please guys, like it, subscribe, and if you have any questions to our class, then please drop me a comment and I will get back to you guys as soon as possible. So let's start with the third class, where we are going to be doing our first layering of our portrait, and that is basically doing the background, because the background is part of layering, and everything basically in a painting is part of layering, but the first layering that you do is going to be the background, because your whole portrait or the person is in front of the background, so the background needs to be at the back. That's why they call it a background, and you need to start with that, and I'm going to be showing you guys in this class how to do that and why we put dark colors in certain places and why we put light colors in other places on the drawing or on the sketch. So guys, thank you for watching the ultimate DIY show. I hope you guys are learning a lot, and I hope you guys love this show. Let's get started with our third class, and that is doing the background.
Okay, so first we're going to take everything out of the way so that we have space to work with, and then we're going to take our size 8 stencil brush, which is not a synthetic brush, it's a round brush, and it cost about 75 Rand and 50 cent. And what we do is we just brush our sheet off and make sure there's nothing on our sheet that will have a bad effect on our painting, and then also it just lightens the pencil marks and the sketch a little bit, because as I said, we are going to work with colors that doesn't have too much pigment in, and that also needs us to then just lighten the sketch a little bit. Then we're going to basically take our sponge and we're going to just make it wet on the background basically, and just where the background needs to go in, we are going to make our sheet just wet. Now just remember not to make it too wet, because as I said previously, you don't want your paint to fade in or to smudge in with your drawing. Although it's going to be smudging or it's going to go a little bit in, you will see that I'm going to paint a little over it, because obviously you need the background to be in the back, so you need to go over your background, and that is why we're going to be doing it like that. Now we're just going to clean our table for our paint, and then we're going to shake our paint well, and we're not going to open it on top of our painting, because sometimes there is crumbs and dry paint that comes off the lid and it goes on your painting or on your sketch, and once you paint it gives a bad effect. This is also why we are using the glass table, because it is easy to clean, and this is basically fabric paint. We are using Aquatex paint for this background, and it's a very good paint, and it cost us about 18 Rand, and this is a very cheap paint, but it does not give a cheap look at the end of the day. So basically why I'm using this paint is because we are on zero funds, and that means that we don't have cash. And if you are still a beginner at this, then obviously you want to learn about this paint, because it's going to cost you not that much, and that is when you can actually start learning your skill, because this can sometimes be quite expensive hobby to have. So at the end of the day, you want to start cheap just to see if you can do this and if you like doing this. And this is why I'm using this, to show you guys that at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. It's about how you paint and not about with what you paint. Now it does have a little bit of a effect, and you get really advanced paint, which is better at the end of the day, but you can still do a pretty good, decent portrait with the cheaper paint as well. So what we do basically is we take our number 8 round brush, and then we just get our background white, because as I said, it's going to be a type of grayish color background. And you see where I'm busy now currently, I go over the hair that I've draw with the pencil, and basically I go a little bit over the face, which you can still see your pencil marking. It's just because why we're doing this is the face needs to go actually onto the background, and if you slip and it's not entirely onto the background, it's going to give you that effect where you won't have that 3D look, and it will look basically as if you tried to go underneath your skin, which you cannot do. And that is why we do layering, and that is why it's really important to know where to start, and that is why we start at the background. Okay, once you're done to paint the whole background white, we're going to take black or our charcoal paint, and then we're going to mark a little bit here and a little bit there with our black, so that we have that grayish effect, because black and white basically gives you gray. And because the white is still wet, we actually mix our colors right on the sheet. We are not mixing it on a palette, and we're going to be mixing it right on the painting, as you can see. Now it's actually really simple to do the background. It's not going to take that much of effort. You don't need to have that much of a skill of painting, although there is some things that goes into the background which you want to bear in mind. But as we go, I'll just discuss it with you guys and tell you where we are going to put darker colors in and where we're going to be putting the lighter colors in. So when it comes to the dark and light colors, we're basically going to be doing it where I'm currently doing it. Basically, it's next to the arm, and we're also going to put a little bit darker colors in by the hair on the right side, basically. And that is just to give it that perspective, because basically where your portrait, the face is going to be light, you want to put next to it darker colors, and where it's going to be dark in your portrait, you want to put some light colors. And that's just bringing in the depth, and that's just going to bring out your painting and bring out the face a lot better when you do this. And as you can see, basically I'm doing that by the skin of her arms basically, and also on the side where I'm busy now by the hair, because the blonde hair is going to go basically over the dark color, and because it's blonde, it's going to be light, and when you have the dark colors underneath the light, then obviously you're going to get that better look in your portrait. Now this sounds much more complicated than it actually is. It is actually not that complicated. You can just take your brush, flow with it, and just practice on it. A background, it can look pretty much as anything. It doesn't need to be as it is in the photo. Basically, I'm using my brush and I'm doing circles. I'm brushing with my brush in circle way, so that basically I get that blurry effect, because this is the effect that I want on this portrait. You'll also note that I'm not using 100% the same colors. On the photo, it's got that cream type of a background, the gray kind of a background. My background, I'm using a charcoal, so that's going to give it more of a bluish type color, which is not a problem because this is a painting and it doesn't matter how the background looks. It has to be a painting at the end of the day. The thing that is really important is in your portrait, in the face, to get that 100% right. Now also, the technique is not that big of a problem. You will learn a lot of techniques in your painting and your artistic journey basically, and as you can see, I'm using my hand currently, and this is just to fade it out and to smoothen it into and blend it in with the paint that I've just painted on it, and that just gives it that more of a blurry effect that I want on this painting at the end of the day. So as we are about to start with the skin basically, which is going to be the neck, it's going to be part of layering as well. We did the background basically now, because it's the background, and the drawing or the painting should come out of the background. And now we're going to do the neck, because the reason for us doing the neck first rather than doing the face is important, because this is part of your layering, and this is going to be your second layering. Now you will get to learn these things. It's not that difficult. Basically what we are doing is we are doing the neck first, because the neck is underneath the face by the chin. The chin is going to go over the neck, as well as the t-shirt is going to go on top of the skin. So you need to do that first, so that whatever comes on top of it should go on top of it. And you'll also find when I'm starting to paint, I'll go over the pencil a little bit, just to make sure when I get to my face or when I get to my t-shirt that the t-shirt literally goes over the neck, and that is how we do it. Now when we start with the neck, we're going to use flesh and white as well as red, and then we're going to be using dark chocolate brown basically to do the neck and the skin of the neck. Now as you remember, I said in the beginning not to make your sketch too dark with your pencil, and I actually did do my sketch dark, and this is just because I wanted to show you guys what I meant by it. And as you can see, the pigment of your flesh color is not that good, and it doesn't have a lot of pigment in, and you can see actually the pencil is like coming through the paint, and you don't want that at the end of the day. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that as well, to show you guys that it's not a big of a problem. You can still fix that, but this is now that we're going to be making the skin really dark, and this is why we use the chocolate brown basically, and we just do our shading and darken it out a little bit until our pencil is darkened out and we don't see any pencil on our painting anymore. Then I'm just using my hand basically to flat it out and to make sure there's no pencil that comes through from underneath. And then after we're done with that, we're going to start with the highlights basically. I'm still using the big round 8 brush, and it's working pretty nice to fade in and to get your skin smooth. And this is also one of the reasons why we are using the soft touch sheet basically, because it has that kind of a suede effect, and that gives it a nice skin effect on your painting. And this is the small stuff that actually matters in a painting, that new beginners don't always know about, and this is going to give it that effect that we want. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to take the brown and I'm going to do the shading where we have kind of a darker color in that side on the left side where we're busy, and then I'm going to also put some highlights in just to get it lighter again, because obviously the skin is much lighter. Also remember that when your paint does get dry, it does change a little bit. It's going to change either lighter or it's going to change either darker. So you just want to have sometimes that pause and wait for your paint basically to dry, just to see the color that it brings out at the end of the day, and then you can fix it, because you don't want to use water on your wet paint, because that is really going to mess up your painting. It's the same as when you are dropping water on a photo or on a piece of paper, it gives that mark, and this is the same effect it's going to give you on your painting. So you don't want to go on water when your paint is still wet. Now in our next class we are going to use water, and then we're going to see if we need to go lighter, which in the next class we are going to need to go lighter, because this neck and skin is still a lot dark. But then we're going to be using water basically, and we're going to mix our white and our red basically with water. Now the red is really important because a child's skin has a lot of pink in it, and white and red makes pink, and this is why we are doing this with the red as well. I already put it red in here in the beginning. It's faded away, but that gives it that flesh pink brown type skin. So as we're going to finish this off, we just basically get the shading where the shading should be. Where it's a little bit darker, we get it a little bit darker, and where it's going to be light, it's going to be light. And after we're done in our next class, then we're going to start with the little bit more detail, and I'm going to show you how to go watery over it with your white color, just to fade it out. And then also I'm going to teach you guys to do the shading with the black, which is going to be crucial, because that gives it that 3D look of your painting, and that is really important, because without shading your painting won't have any depth in it, and that won't work for you. So guys, thank you for watching the Ultimate DIY show. Please like it, subscribe to the channel, and if there's anything, just drop me a comment and I'll get back to you.